Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2013. Big news coming out of Lloyd's. One of the top performing syndicates in Lloyd's is being put up for sale. Sky News is reporting that Cathedral Capital, which is majority owned by Alchemy, a private equity group, is expected to command a price tag of more than £250 million. That's about $400 million US. This comes about 7 years after Alchemy invested in the syndicate, and the return should produce about a 2.5-time profit over its original investment. Cathedral employs just over 100 people. It's rated as one of the top 5 of the 90 Lloyd's syndicates. It's had an average net loss ratio of just 60% since 2004. Its management team, led by Peter Scales, John Lynch, and John Hamblin, who collectively own about 40% of the company, have indicated that they're willing to remain in the role under a new owner. Apparently as well, Willis Capital Markets and Advisory and Kinmont have been appointed as handling the auction process on behalf of Cathedral. Cathedral itself was unavailable for comment. We wish our best to everybody connected with this. We have good friends there. That could be good news for everybody. Yesterday, American Airlines was brought to its knees by a computer problem that fouled everything up, ranging from reservations to printing of boarding passes to determining how much fuel was on the airplanes. Over 1,000 flights were canceled by early evening. The Federal Aviation Administration ordered a complete ground stop for American Airlines at about 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Flights that were already in the air were allowed to continue to their destinations, but planes on the ground throughout the United States were not allowed to take off. Travelers could do little to get back into the air until the computer problem was solved. American moved planes during the night to have them positioned for today. They guarantee that today is going to be much more smooth and everything should run as normal. American, of course, is in the process of being merged with U.S. Air. Doug Parker, the U.S. Airways CEO, has already stated that he prefers to have the whole group operate under the name and livery of American Airlines rather than U.S. Air. It's not known whether or not Mr. Parker is going to revisit that decision after today's embarrassment. The hunt in Boston continues now. Nobody has been arrested, but more clues emerge. Apparently, the 2 explosive devices contained fine nails, smaller than the ones used to hang pictures, and they were placed in kitchen pressure cookers. The devices were specifically designed to maim and injure people, which they did. The injured now is up to 176 as a total. 3 people have been killed. The lead FBI investigator in Boston made a passionate plea for help from the public, saying someone knows who did this. They've also received thousands of videos and pictures in response to their plea of yesterday. President Obama is going to be there tomorrow for an interfaith service. Hundreds more pigs have been found dead in China, this time with over 100 dead dogs in homes and farms in a village in central Henan province. Local authorities say chemical factories in the area have been ordered to suspend production. Government officials say the deaths are suspected to be related to the factories. They say it has nothing to do with the bird flu virus that recently spread to humans. Last month, of course, 16,000 dead pigs were found in the water supply heading into Shanghai. There was a strong earthquake and about 20 aftershocks in a volcanic island just south of Tokyo. The biggest quake was a 6.2. It struck just off Miyake Island this morning at a depth of about 12 miles. This is about 100 miles south of Tokyo. No reports of any tsunamis. Well, you wonder why we invaded Iraq and lost so much blood and treasure, as the phrase goes. Iraq put 21 men to death yesterday. They had all been convicted on anti-terror charges with death by hanging. The latest execution is brought to 50. The number of executions Baghdad has carried out this year, despite widespread calls for a moratorium on the country's use of capital punishment. They carried out 129 executions last year, and the government insisted that Baghdad would continue to implement the death penalty. Well, we couldn't help but notice this one. This is very interesting. In recent years, policymakers in the U.S. and Europe have fastened onto the notion that reaching a certain heavy burden of debt would threaten future economic health. This often has been used to justify budgets, austerity budgets, that have increased unemployment and sapped economic strength in the present. You might have heard concerns expressed by French President Hollande, as well as others, saying, stop the austerity madness, we need to prime the pump. John Maynard Keynes, Keynesian economics founder, and so far as theory goes, is one of the biggest people cited by these people, saying that money should be used to spend and invigorate the economy. Well, apparently the foundation for all of this thought on austerity budgets comes from a 2010 research paper by two professors at Harvard, Professor Reinhardt and Professor Rogoff. This has been seized upon by conservatives, as well as many people in the World Bank, as well as the International Monetary Fund and the European Union, saying that this research indicates that, in fact, austerity budgets are the way to go. Well, the University of Massachusetts at Amherst discovered an error in the spreadsheets that is used to compile the data that the professors from Harvard put together. Apparently there were some simple miscalculations or data exclusions that sharply altered the ultimate result. In fact, these data miscalculations would have laid bare that the fallacies that existed at the core of the Harvard professor's report, in fact, argues against an austerity budget, when in fact pump priming is exactly what should be being deployed right now. Interestingly enough, this information comes to light as the World Bank is scheduled for its annual spring meeting in Washington, D.C., beginning on Friday night. There had already been expected a groundswell of opinion coming from certain countries, including the French president, saying that the time for austerity is over, stop the madness, and let's begin to prime the pump so we can get economic growth. With this news, it's only going to make that sort of discussion much more animated. Once again, a simple spreadsheet error has confounded the best intentions of government. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.